Hey guys, this is Jesse. I just wanted to make a video today to talk about how I keep my Strat in tune. I just picked up this guitar not long ago. It's a Mexican Standard Strat. I think it's a couple of years old. When I first got it, it was set up wrong and it was all out of tune, had old strings on it and everything. So I changed the strings and I gave it a setup, and now fairly in tune. I got a floating tremolo as well, so I can go up and down. And I've got it set to the Carl Verheyen settings, so I can pull up on the G string a step and a half. So it goes from, say, a G to a B flat. The B string goes up a full step, so a B to a C sharp. The E goes up to a half step to an F. You can get fairly nuts with it. Doesn't go out of tune. Stays in tune pretty well. Okay, so about the guitar first of all. So this, as I said, this is a Mexican Standard Strat. It's just got the standard Fender tuners on it. They're not locking tuners or anything like that. It's the standard Fender string tree as well. I've just put 9 to 42 strings on it. As I said, the bridge is floating, so what I did is, there's actually a guy on YouTube called Frudua, I believe his name is, sorry if I got that wrong. But I watched a couple of his videos and he had the same sort of ideas as Carl Verheyen. If you haven't seen the Carl Verheyen video, that's where I got the idea for the intervals from. Carl sets up his strats, so as I said, he can pull up a step and a half on the G string, a step on the B string, and a half a step on the E string. Okay, so how I set up the floating tremolo. It's a little bit complicated, so I'll try and explain it simply as best I can. So basically what I did is I tightened the springs in the back here. So I tightened the claw here that pulls on the springs. I tightened those in a fair bit so the bridge was sitting flush on the body, so totally flat on top of the body. And then what I did is I tuned the G string up to just a G, to a standard G. And then what you do is you drop the bar down, so you drop the bridge, you raise the bridge up off the body until the G string is at an E, so it's a step and a half lower than it was. And then what you do is you grab some index cards or some pieces of paper or some post-it notes or something like that, and you wedge that up here just under the bridge, so it kind of like blocks the bridge off. And you use the right amount, so when you wedge them in there and you let go and they're just blocking the bridge off, your G string still is at perfect E, so it's perfectly in tune at an E. And then what you do is you tune all the guitar up to pitch as per usual, so you tune that string back up to a G and E, A, D, G, B, E, just standard tuning. When you do that and you've still got these index cards blocking the bridge off, then what you do is you go back to your claw here and you adjust these screws until basically that will either fall out or you can kind of pull it out and the bridge will stay where it is. When you're adjusting these screws in the back here, basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to balance the tension on the springs with the tension on the strings over here. So when you get that perfectly in balance, your bridge will remain floating and it will remain at the right spot, which is where you've set it with your index cards, right? Or your post-it notes or whatever. So you've got that wedged in there, and if your springs are really tight, the bridge will be pushing down really hard on those index cards. So as you loosen the springs, so basically you loosen these screws, so you bring them out that way. You get pretty close to the right tension and these index cards or the post-it notes will probably fall out, or you can just pull them out. So once you pull out your index cards or post-it notes or whatever, or they've fallen out, you should be pretty close to in tune. So you just check it with your tuner. If you're a little bit sharp or flat, all you do is you go back to the screws in the back and you just adjust those slightly, and you keep checking your tuning until eventually you'll adjust your springs in the back here. So you'll be perfectly in tune. So Carl also mentions that he angles this claw in the back. His theory is that the bass strings have more tension than the treble strings, So he angles it so that this spring on the bass side is tighter than the other side. So I don't really know if that does anything or if it's just a bit of a fairy tale, but you can try that as well. But mine's angled slightly, but I think if you have it flat, it'll probably do the same thing. Okay, so once you're in tune, your bar should go up and down. And you should be able to pull up your intervals as well, like I mentioned before. So you should be able to go a step and a half on your G string, so you should be able to do licks like. Your B string goes up a full step. And your high string goes up a half step. And pretty much in tune. It is a Strat, so it's not going to be as perfect as a Floyd Rose, but certainly not out of tune. Doesn't sound out of tune to me. So some other things you can do to help you stay in tune, you can use like a high graphite pencil, or just any kind of pencil I suppose, and just file off a little bit of pencil lead in the nut slots here, or just you can just kind of draw on it and it'll just rub some lead in there. You can also use just graphite powder, same thing in the nut slots, and you can just get a bit of sandpaper or a file and just do the underside of the string tree if it's got any burrs or any rust or anything in there. You can sort of smooth that out and it might help as well. You can use, I've got some 3-in-1 oil that you just put like a tiny little drop on the bridge here, just where the strings contact the saddles. That'll help a little bit with that, I've found. That's pretty much it. I haven't done anything else to this guitar and it stays in tune really good. Sounds good. So I hope that helps you guys out. If you've got any questions or comments, just leave them below and rock on.